You're doing everything you're supposed to do. You get 8, maybe 9 hours of sleep. You time your protein shakes perfectly. You've formed a deep personal relationship with a massage gun. You have an ice bath in your garage and you're not afraid to use it. You have every recovery tool known to man. You're ticking all the boxes and yet you feel stuck. You live in a state of constant grinding fatigue. Your numbers are stagnant, your motivation is shot, and you feel like you're caught in a trap. You're putting in elite level effort on recovery, but your performance is stubbornly average. What if I told you the trap isn't the fatigue itself? What if the trap is your relentless chase to feel fresh every single day? For a hybrid athlete, and pretty much almost every single athlete out there, so this is not just generalized to one group, chasing 100% freshness is more than just impossible. It is a bright red flag that you are not actually adapting. You are actively blunting your own progress. Today, we're going to be tearing down this idea that more recovery is always better. We're going to talk about why feeling fresh can be a warning sign, how to strategically manage your fatigue, not obliterate it, to build durable, long-lasting results. This is the conversation most recovery-obsessed influencers will not have with you because it doesn't sell you a $500 gadget. It sells you discipline and intelligence. Let's start with this. Let's see if this sounds familiar to you. Your training week is a logistical masterpiece of chaos. Monday is heavy squats. Tuesday is VO2 max track session. Wednesday is a long, slow, reactive recovery run, but your legs feel like cement. Thursday is upper body push, but your shoulders are still smoked from whatever you did the day before. And by Friday, you're just trying to survive, running on fumes and pre-workout mix. You survive the week, and the weekend becomes a frantic race to recover. You spend hours in compression boots, plunge into that ice bath until you're numb, and you foam roll until you're bruised, telling yourself, if I can feel fresh by Monday, I can do it all again. This is the cycle. It's a hamster wheel of stress and suppression. You apply a massive training stimulus, creating fatigue and inflammation. Then you throw your entire recovery arsenal at the problem to stamp out those feelings before the next session. You're playing physiological whack-a-mole. The problem is you're whacking the very things that signal your body to get stronger and faster. Look, I've been there. I went through a phase where my first thought after a grueling long run was not nutrition. It was how fast could I get to an ice bath or an ice shower or ice anything. I thought soreness and inflammation were the enemy, and my job was to destroy them instantly. And it felt like it was working. I was less sore day to day. I felt recovered in a sense. But my training log told a very different story. My numbers in my running were completely stalled and my run times were flat as all fuck. I was in a recovery trap. I was so busy winning the daily battle for freshness that I was losing the long-term war of adaptation. This is the great paradox for the modern athlete. We have more recovery tech than ever, yet so many of us are perpetually burnt out. And the truth is, many of these tools are not supporting adaptation. They're a crutch for bad programming and unsustainable training load. They create an illusion of recovery, letting you push until something finally snaps, either whether in your body, your tendons, your ligaments, or even in your brain. So to understand the trap, we need a simple, no-nonsense talk about how your body actually improves. It's called adaptation. And it doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens in response to stress. Think of your body as a construction site. Training, that's your lifting heavy or running hard, is controlled chaos on that site. You create micro tears and muscle fibers and deplete your energy stores. The stress sends out a cascade of signals, and one of the most important ones out there is acute inflammation. Now, inflammation has been turned into the boogeyman. We're told to fight at all costs. That is a very dangerous oversimplification. Short-term inflammation right after workout is never the enemy. It's a project foreman on your construction site. It's a signal that says, hey, we've got damage over here. Send in repair crews. And while we're at it, reinforce the structure so it handles this load better next time. That repair and reinforce process is your adaptation. It's how muscles grow and cells get better at producing energy. But for that to happen, the foreman needs to do its job. The signals have to get through. When you immediately jump into an ice bath or pop an anti-inflammatory pill after every single session, you're gagging the foreman. And there are trade-offs when you do that. The choice to use routine ice baths point you towards feeling less sore today, but it points you away from optimal muscle growth tomorrow. Cold water immersion causes vasoconstriction, narrowing your blood vessels. This can hinder the transport of nutrients and signaling molecules needed for repair. And studies have shown that regular post-exercise cold water immersion can blunt long-term gains in muscle and strength. Research suggests this is partly because it can blunt the activation of key proteins in your muscle building pathway like mTOR for up to 2 days. Similarly, choosing to pop NSAIDs like ibuprofen points you towards temporary pain relief, but away from natural repair processes. These drugs work by blocking enzymes that create prostaglandins, key players in the vital inflammatory process. While the science is still evolving, high dose or chronic use appears to interfere with muscle protein synthesis after exercises. You're short circuiting the very process you're training to stimulate. You feel less sore in the short term, but you're robbing yourself of long term adaptation. You're choosing comfort over resilience. You feel fresh, but you're not getting better. You're just getting better at masking the symptoms of your training. So, how do you fall into this trap? It's usually a series of well intentioned but misguided habits. I'm going to break down the 5 most common mistakes so you know what to look for. Mistake number 1: treating recovery as optimization, not adaptation. This is the mindset you must optimize every aspect of recovery every day. You're chasing perfect scores on your sleep tracker, HRV monitor, glucose monitor. The goal becomes winning recovery. But adaptation isn't about creating a stress-free environment. It's about introducing a stressor big enough to force a positive change. And if you're so aggressively managing recovery that you feel 100% for every workout, that is a red flag. It could mean your training stimulus is too low, or you're blunting the signal so effectively that no adaptation is happening. You should carry some level of cumulative fatigue through the training block, not excessively high, but just the right amount. The fatigue is evidence that you're creating a stimulus worth adapting to. The goal isn't to erase fatigue daily, but to manage it across the week. Mistake number 2: using recovery tools to mask a bad program. And this is the biggest mistake of all. Your training plan is just plain stupid. Now, this is going to hurt for a lot of people, but take a good, honest look sometimes. You might not be doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're trying to hit a 1 rep max squat a day after a 15-mile run. And yes, at some point, a lot of us are guilty of that. I can raise my hand on that one. You're doing high-intensity intervals 5 days a week. Your body is screaming at you, but instead of fixing the program, you use recovery tools as a band-aid. That nagging Achilles? Massage gun. The feeling of burnt out? Ice bath. Can't sleep because your nervous system is fried? Take a supplement. These tools create a false sense of security. They let you keep pushing a flawed plan, digging you into a deeper hole of systemic fatigue until you get a serious injury or hit a plateau you cannot break through. Recovery tools should support a smart program, not enable a dumb one. Tools are there to help, but they're not there to override. If you're completely dependent on them just to show up, your problem is not recovery, it's your training architecture. Mistake number 3 is about the unrelenting war on inflammation. As we said, inflammation is nuanced. Acute inflammation is a signal for growth. Chronic systemic inflammation is the problem. The mistake is using powerful anti-inflammatory tools like ice baths and NSAIDs as a routine practice instead of targeted intervention. Think of it this way: an ice bath can be useful after a max effort competition or a uniquely brutal workout that pushes you far beyond your normal limits. In that context, it can help manage excessive inflammation to get you functional again. But using it after every moderate run is like calling in a SWAT team for a noisy neighbor. It's overkill. So a strategic choice is to let your normal inflammatory process run its course after most workouts. Your best anti-inflammatory tools are basics: sleep and good food. Save the heavy hitters for when you truly need them, like after a race, not your Tuesday tempo run. Mistake number 4 is chasing comfort instead of building resilience. This is subtle, but a very powerful mindset trap. The goal of training isn't to feel comfortable. I don't think anybody's really doing it for that reason. No one's going to be doing Fran to feel good afterwards. It's to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Resilience is built by exposing yourself to controlled stress and letting your body adapt. So every time you prioritize feeling good right now by skipping a workout you know will make you sore or over-relying on feel-good recovery, you're making a choice. When you skip that day of overhead squats, you're making a choice. The choice points you toward fragility. You're building a system that only performs under perfect conditions or the perfect setup or the perfect workout that bends to your ideal situation. The moment something goes wrong, say a bad night's sleep or a stressful day, the whole thing ends up crumbling. Durable athletes are forged in managed fatigue. They understand that the dread of a workout on tired legs, the grit it takes to finish that last set when you're gassed, that is where real growth starts to happen. So the goal is never about comfort, it's about capability. And capability is only built at the edge of your comfort zone. And learning where that line is crucial for your long-term growth. Alright, mistake number 5, following a generic recovery protocol. Finally, too many athletes adopt a generic recovery plan from the internet without thinking. The recovery demands of a heavy leg day are going to be different from a long run. A VO2 max session fries your central nervous system in a way a bodybuilding workout doesn't. Your recovery has to be specific to the stimulus, This is what helps you learn how to be a better athlete, because you have to focus on what you are doing and what is best for what you are not doing rather than what the internet tells you to do. After a heavy leg day, your main focus is muscle repair, so protein and sleep will be king. Active recovery should be light. A walk, maybe. After a long endurance run, you're prioritizing replenishing glycogen, so carbs and hydration are key. Also, flushing out some of the waste metabolites, so going for a longer walk, cycle the next day is actually very beneficial. And for protein, aiming for that total daily intake of, say, 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight is a solid target for most hybrid athletes to support ongoing demands. You also have to auto-regulate. That is learning about your own body. Learn your own body's cues of poor sleep, no motivation, nagging soreness, and have the discipline to adjust. This is at Forge Grit where we really teach about sovereignty, learning how to self-coach. This is crucial as your growth. You have to learn how your body adapts and adjusts based off what you are doing and not what anybody else is telling you to do. So if drowning ourselves in recovery is not the answer, what is? Well, we have to shift from fatigue elimination to strategic fatigue management. Fatigue isn't a bug, it's a feature, it's data. Here's how you use it. First, prioritize your training and your recovery. I've talked about block periodization with training purposes. You also have to do block periodization with your recovery as well. Structure training in blocks. Yes, maybe a 4 to 6 week block focus on strength where running is just maintenance. Then you flip it. Within these blocks, you plan deload weeks every 4 to 6 weeks where you cut volume and intensity. This is non-negotiable for deep systemic recovery. Second, master your basics. Before you buy another gadget, supplement, whatever you saw on that's now on sale on an ad, on a Facebook ad, be flawless with fundamentals. That means 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night. It means dialing your nutrition, making sure you have enough calories, not too much, not too little, adequate protein, and timing carbs around your hardest sessions. And it means also staying hydrated, including your electrolytes, not just your pre-workout mixes. These 3 pillars are 90% of your recovery. Third thing, use active recoveries on your off days. The goal isn't to become one with the couch and Netflix. Low intensity movement like a light jog, a swim, or mobility work, or just go for a hike, keeps blood flowing, helps clear your waste, delivers nutrients without adding new stress. This is far more effective than just sitting around. And fourth, learn to listen. Your body gives constant feedback. Are your warm-ups feeling heavy for days in a row? Is your motivation gone? Is your resting heart rate trending up? These are warning signs that you're sliding from productivity fatigue into destructive under-recovery. Be disciplined enough to listen and pull back when needed. The hybrid athlete's journey, and just about any other athlete out there, is a balancing act of a razor's edge. It's tempting to believe the secret is a magic pill or machine that will erase fatigue and let you push harder. But the real secret is less glamorous and infinitely more effective. Understanding the fatigue is the shadow of progress. It's your body's language telling you that change is happening. The goal isn't to live in a world without shadows, but to learn how to read them. Stop chasing the ghost of fresh. Stop trying to optimize away from various stimulus you're working so hard to create. Instead, manage fatigue with intelligence. Build a smart program. Master the unsexy basics of sleep and nutrition. Listen to the feedback your body gives you every single day. Embrace the grind, but respect the process. Train hard, but recover smarter. Not more, but smarter. That is how you escape the trap and build durable, resilient performance that lasts. Now, if this resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise. I want to hear from you in the comments. What's the biggest recovery mistake you've ever made? What did you learn from it? Share your experiences, how we all get better. Thanks for watching. Now go earn that rest.